Before taking the interview, I would like you to introduce yourself, just some words about you.
Sure. My name is Jesse Stavis. I'm a fourth-year graduate student at the University of Wisconsin Madison, where I study 19th century Russian literature and teach first and second year Russian.
Okay, and the topic I would like to interview is, what is M teaching? How do you understand the letter M? What is it behind this letter?
The letter M, I'm sorry, I don't...
letter M, just in M teaching. What do you understand? What stands behind this letter? Letter M.
I don't know this phrase, M teaching.
You have never heard?
I've never heard it.
Any ideas? Okay.
M teaching.
Develop your imagination, please.
McDonald's? No, I don't know. I've never...
Any, it may be any, just your idea, your imagination.
Of M teaching.
M.
M, the letter M.
Yes.
No, this is, for me, this is a new phrase.
New phrase. And what do you think about mobile teaching?
Mobile teaching.
It's M teaching, mobile teaching. What is, how do you understand what mobile teaching is?
You mean like teaching students who are in a different place or moving around? I don't...
No, I mean different gadgets, different devices used.
Technology.
Yes, that is.
I think the technology is very popular in teaching right now, and I think that sometimes it's useful, but I have to say that I think that a lot of times my methods are a lot more traditional in a lot of ways. I think sometimes technology can be more of a distraction in the classroom than it helps.
And what about advantages, maybe?
Advantages are always that students are so connected to technology right now, and it's always so important for them. If they're going to be learning a language, so much of what they're going to be doing is on the internet, for example. So much is going to have to use technology because that's the world that we live in. So it's important, for example, that the students have practice say, researching a topic on the internet in Russian. So they need to know how a web page works. And I found that actually even students who don't have wonderful grammar can still figure out web pages.
Okay. And what about mobile phones? Can they be useful at the lessons?
Yes, and one activity I have done before, and it's worked very well, is, especially if it's warm outside and the students can go outside, is that you have them call each other and have a conversation on the telephone, because that is always very difficult, I think. Much, much easier to understand people when you're having a face-to-face conversation, and of course you'll always have to eventually talk to someone on the telephone. Mostly what I think about mobile phones is that I don't like when students sit in my class and send secret SMSs and secret texts. So technology is also sometimes it's a danger in the classroom, and so you have to be very careful about it.
Yes, I quite agree with you. We should be really careful. And what about the differences between our students and American ones?
I think this is very interesting because I think that the approaches are very different. In America, we are very enthusiastic about the communicative method. Although that's also interesting because if a Russian teacher and a French teacher, say, talk to each other, the French teacher would probably be much more communicative. They would try to have their whole class in French all the time. The Russian teacher would probably say that there's still a good room for grammar translation methods. Still that it's very important to sit down and learn all the cases, because Russian for American students is such a grammatically complex language. I think in general, though, what the American system is very good at is at preparing students for the experience of living in a foreign country, where when you get there and your language isn't at a very high level, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And we tell our students from the very first day that the important thing is that the meaning gets across, that you're discussing things that are important to you. And then as they move along, it's important to get that grammar really, really good. Of course, we understand that one can't speak without a command of grammar. But I would say that we emphasize it somewhat less. I think that my impression of the Russian system is that it's excellent at teaching students grammatical structures. And they have a really, really strong understanding of the grammar. I think, though, that one of the things about the Russian system is that so much of it is geared towards tests. towards the state exams, and so that makes it, I think, very difficult for the teacher to have other objectives besides having the students pass those tests. And testing is always a very controversial subject in teaching. And what is the aim of the test ultimately? When we write tests, we have two objectives. Our first objective is to make sure that our students are studying their grammar. But as a second objective, we also want to push them to try to speak about themselves on the test, for example. So we'll have a combination of what we call fill in the blanks or пропущенные слова, which will be very grammatically focused. But then we'll also have essays where you have to just talk about yourself. And when we grade those, the grammar is less important, I would say. So I would say the major difference is between how much weight the Russian system and the American system give to grammatical accuracy and how much they give to communicative competencies is what we call it.
Thank you very much. I have noticed it at your lesson. Just you don't pay so much attention to grammar when you just have conversation or discussion.
Right. What we do is we divide the class in some sense between exercises that are really about getting the right form, but then when the students are speaking, if it's a big mistake, for example, many American students have a big problem with just how to say how old they are in Russian, and they always want to say "у меня 20 лет," or they want to say "меня 20 лет." And so if they make that kind of mistake in a conversation, that's something where we will correct them. But it's always important for us to have students be comfortable in the class and be able to talk even if they feel like they're not getting every single thing right. And I think that it's always incredible to have a discussion with someone who's a student of the language, and even if they're making lots and lots of grammatical mistakes, but if you're having a complicated discussion with them about politics, about their life, about anything really, I'm not as worried about their grammatical accuracy in that conversation.
Bratio, thank you very much.
Thank you.
For your very interesting interview.
You're very welcome. Thank you.